Well, Robert Barron used to help people hide. Now he helps them come into the light.
Today on Living the Life, he was a master of disguise for the CIA. Now, Robert Barron is using his undercover expertise to help others rebuild their lives.
Welcome to Living the Life. We're so glad to be with you today. Boy, you mentioned Robert Barron, our guest today. What a fascinating thing we have to show all of you.
You cannot miss this. This is just the most incredible thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, up next, remember Mission Impossible? We're going to meet a man who spent years with the CIA disguising people's identities. Now he's helping disfigured people find a new life. We'll tell you more. Fascinating. Stay with us.
Well, for 24 years, Robert Barron's life read like an international spy thriller. But today, his job is thrilling in a different way.
Such a gratifying feeling to be able to help someone. I get up in the morning and I can't wait to get to work, knowing that I'm going to change someone's life.
Robert Barron is a master of disguise. From fine artist to CIA operative, he traveled the world for 24 years helping people hide their identity. Now retired from military operations, he helps people come out of hiding by building prosthetics that recreate what they've lost due to disease, birth defects, or accidents.
I had one patient that was told that he couldn't go back into a restaurant anymore because of the way he looked. And I made this mask for him that he could go back into that restaurant undetected.
By recreating the external, Robert's prosthetics heal the inside as well.
Here to tell us more is the founder of Custom Prosthetic Designs, Robert Barron. Welcome to Living the Life. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
These are such amazing spare parts, if you will. I mean, look before us. We have hands, fingers, ears, noses, an eye, an entire face. How do you make these?
All of these are made out of a silicone. The silicone is lifelike, and realism is put into every piece of the prosthetic devices you see here.
I always use prosthetics, and I do impressions for a living. So I would have an artist come in and they would do the prosthetics, but I have never seen anything like this. This is incredible. You started in the CIA, correct? I mean,
Yes.
you were so talk about that. How did you go from the CIA to doing this?
In the CIA, I designed masks for the agents, and the mask for the agents had to pass close scrutiny. They had to pass a close scrutiny of 6 inches.
Wow.
And if not, their lives were in jeopardy.
So perfection was important in this.
That's what it's all about. The realism, everything that I put in my prosthetic devices today, that I put in my mask, that helped save the lives of many agents.
How did you even get into the whole CIA thing to begin with?
I worked for the Pentagon for 2 years, and I forged a parking permit. And don't do this, kids.
They said, boy, that
Don't do
guy's
this.
good.
I forged a parking permit because I didn't want to walk through the snow and the ice in the winter. So this parking permit allowed me to park right next to the South Building, where the admirals and generals and majors parked. So I had this parking permit for a year, but someone didn't like the fact that I was doing that. I guess it was called jealousy, and they turned me in. So I appeared in front of a judge, and the judge couldn't believe his eyes. He says, "Where did you get this parking permit?" I said, "I made it, Your Honor." He said, "No. What do you mean you made it? How'd you get those IBM holes in there and the stars and everything's just so perfect?" He said, "Where do you work?" And I said, "Well, I work for Chief of Naval Operations under Admiral Moore at the time, and I'm the art director of Direction Magazine and Navy Wife Line. So you're an artist?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He says, "You know how much trouble you're in? You have forged government property."
Oh, ouch.
You know that's a no-no.
Yeah.
That's a federal offense. He asked me if I had $50 in my pocket. And I said, yes, I do. He said, give that man, the bailiff, $50 and get out of my court before I change my mind.
Ooh.
So I did. And I got to the door and he called me back. So I approached the bench and he says, approach the bench a little closer. And I did. And he says, darn good job.
Oh, great.
Wow.
And I said, what? And he said, darn good job. He said, now I know where I can go if I want a parking permit. So I can park right next to the Pentagon so I don't have to walk so far and go so far around in the snow. And I said, no, Your Honor, that's not true. And he says, good. Now get out of here before I change my mind. 3 months later, I was called.
Really?
And I didn't know who it was. And I don't know if he said this to the agency or not, but I think he might have said, you know, this guy's a darn good forger. Maybe you can use him in your graphic arts department.
Wow.
So I became one of the senior forgers in 3 years after I started working for the agency.
That's a God wink, huh?
I guess so.
Talk about...
These prosthetics, as you said, are more than cosmetic. They actually have, in some senses, medical purposes.
Absolutely. Multifaceted reasons why an ear is a medical necessity. The good Lord gave us ears not to hold on a pair of glasses, but to direct the sound waves into the auditory canal. And so with someone who has a canal, this ear will help 20% of your hearing. And it also restores the symmetry. It's a great psychological benefit in someone's well-being.
Sure.
And it restores their faith in life. And it also helps in other ways too. It keeps the unwanted environment out of the ear canal.
Yes, sure. Well, if you know someone that has a need of this type, you can find out more on our website. And up next, we're going to see some before and after shots that will amaze you of Robert's extreme makeovers and hear how he's changing lives with the work that he does. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
If you can put someone in hiding, then you can bring that person out of hiding. Or if you can change somebody's identity, then you can give that person their identity back.
Well, we're back with Robert Barron discussing his work with prosthetics for people with disfigurements. Now, how did you go from the CIA to what you're doing today, which, as you were saying in the break, is a God-given talent that
It is
he's
a
using?
God-given talent. He is using me now to help others who need my services. When I was in the agency sent me to a biomedical sculptor seminar in New York, and there were disfigured people. It's biomedical sculptor seminar, and John Chambers, the man who designed the mask for the Planet of the Apes, was the president. And he was the only one who knew that I was undercover. The agency sent me there to research and explore other materials that may help us better our disguises, see? So I found out that we were 5 years ahead of the real world.
Really?
And I saw these disfigurements, and it just broke my heart to see these people. And I says, Bob, if you can put someone in hiding, then you can bring that person out of hiding. Or if you can change somebody's identity, then you can give that person their identity back through prosthetics. And I couldn't wait to retire. 9 years before I retired from the CIA, I knew what I wanted to do in my second life, my second career.
In your second career, you've had some very touching stories along the way of people who've been disfigured. I think of 9/11 and what happened at the Pentagon. I mean, here's the place that you used to work. Tell us about that.
I was able to help 2 people. The only survivors that came out of that who I was able to help was Juan Santiago. I made both of his ears, and Louise Kurtz. I made both of her ears for her. And those were the only 2 that I could help. But I mean, prosthetic devices, they aren't cosmetic. To me, it restores the faith in life, and it also just gives you back all the hope to keep on living. And you know, I wake up in the morning knowing that I want to go to work because I'm going to give someone that life back to them.
Let's
through
look at some of the
prosthetics.
work that you've done. You've got some pictures of before and after work that we'd like to take a look at. You look for yourself. Just look at the expression on this little boy's face in the before and then the after, where you can just see a dramatic change in his personality.
Well, you can. And he's teased at school.
Oh, can you imagine?
And he doesn't even want to go to school anymore. And the poor kid, has to go through getting up in the morning and not wanting to go to school because little Johnny or little Mary is going to say, "Whoa, look at your funny looking ear," So all that goes away.
What was his
embarrassing
reaction
stares.
when you gave him that?
Well, mom and dad says, well, he's not happy-go-lucky like his brother and sister and everything. Well, I know I'm going to be able to change that.
Yes.
I know when he gets that ear, he's going to walk out of the office and his life is going to change right in front of his mom and dad. He doesn't realize what it's going to do for him until he wears that ear to school and everybody goes, wow. Aren't you cool? Man, you got an ear and you can take it off and put it on anytime you want. You're really cool. And then he attracts attention in a way that he wants the attraction drawn to him.
Let's go back. These pictures are so
Just
amazing. Let's look at
phenomenal.
some more of the
Just
things that you've done. This is a burn victim,
Yes.
I assume. And
Yes.
burns are so
Terrible.
incredibly awful. But look at how you totally reconstructed that ear. That's astonishing.
Well, this is not reconstruction.
What did you
I'm
do?
sorry. This is not a
saying
reconstructed
reconstruction. It's
ear.
prosthetic, right?
A doctor botches reconstruction ears all the time. This is a prosthetic device that is held on with adhesive, and he can hear now.
That's amazing to me.
He can hear.
That it's functional.
And that you
Right.
see no line of
You know.
delineation there. I mean, you
Right.
would not know that.
Well,
Right.
the other thing is, I'm looking at this close, Robert. I'm seeing the little hairs that are on ears. I mean, down to the last detail.
Right. That's realism. The more I can
And
put.
even look at this again.
The
I'm going to get a close up.
veins.
Right.
How the skin. You know how skin
Yes.
gets like
Yes.
rippled
Yeah.
closer to the ear line, and you've got that down to a science. This is astonishing to me.
Wow.
Take a look at the veins in
Veins
this
in the hand.
I mean, if that doesn't look real.
God, and an eye. The eyes look amazing.
Well, this is called an ocular with orbital, okay? The ocular being the eye, and the orbit being the surrounding tissue. And this is caused from cancer. When there's cancer behind the eye, that eye has to be removed in 3 to 5 months, because if not, that cancer can go to the brain.
Wow.
So this is called an exenerated orbit. And
Here we
there's
see
a
a
picture.
man
My
who suffered
There's
from
an
this.
exenerated
Wow.
orbit.
You can't tell which one's the real eye and which one isn't. It's just phenomenal.
This is also an exenerated orbit, but the doctor, the physician, was able to put a skin graft over that. So I was able to just make that blend
Attach
right
it
in,
right to that.
blend right into the surrounding tissue, and everything disappears.
Wow. Well, you've seen just a little bit of how astonishing that Robert Barron's work is. If you'd like more information on what he does, maybe you know somebody who could really benefit from having their life changed in this way, go to livingthelife.com. It's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
you have
you.
a gift.
It's an honor to
Amazing
meet you.
gift.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.